All right, so good morning, and let's get started. So, a belt or strap and a few blocks. Now we have this up here. There, okay. And we'll start sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And then using those arms alongside, lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And slowly releasing with the arms. Letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Inhaling and exhaling, really arriving in your body in this moment. Keep staying there, breathing. Letting go of the rest of the day. Just be here now in your body with your breath. And then reaching out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing those arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down. Let's do that twice more. And then coming forward and over, breathing across the back of the body. And then walking the hands over to the right diagonal. Make a long reach along the left side, pulling that left sitting bone back and down into the floor. And then left hand on the right knee, turning inside out, reaching up and out through that right arm. And then reaching the right arm forward and a little side bending, rounding up a little. And a big swoop around with the right arm back to the center. And then coming up, unfurling vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. And we'll change the cross of the legs. And coming forward once again. And then walking the hands over to the left diagonal. Long stretch along the right side. And then right hand on the right knee, twisting open, turning inside out. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, no, what happened?
Well, you ended up on the correct side.
Yeah.
And this, even at the best of times, this is a shape that's best not to look at anybody else and just do it.
Yeah.
All right. And then reaching that left arm over the ear, arching up into the back. And a big swoop around and back to the center. Inhale and exhale. And then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Deep breath, arriving here in this moment. And then let's come up to downward facing dog. So having your belt up near the front of the mat. And then downward facing dog, taking your time getting there, walking the dog or anything else you need to do or want to do. All right. And then finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. And we'll look between the hands to jump or step forward. And coming into the concave back halfway up. Don't be afraid to go way halfway up, really lengthening the spine, reaching out through the collarbones, and then pouring over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. And then let's circle the shoulders 3 times up the front, down the back. Big indulgent range of motion. Oh, now that we're underway, I think we need at least 4 times. And then go in the other direction. One more. Front to the back, interlocking the fingers behind. Lifting the chest to lift the chin. Squeeze those upper arms a little bit toward each other. And then coming forward and over, pressing out through the hands. And releasing the hands. Concave back, folding over. Let's step back to the plank, right, left. And long and flat against the ceiling for a couple breaths. And continuing through whatever version of the vinyasa you want. Maybe going to kneel and plank. And get to upward facing dog or the cobra. There could be a child's pose in here along the way. And then there we are, downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. And through to the lunge. And we'll bring the left knee down and Jayasana, the kneeling lunge. And a big circle around with the arms and all the way back up overhead. Namaste in front. And straighten up the left leg. We'll go to the roller derby. Turning your left foot down 90 degrees. Putting the right hand on that inner right knee. Stretching into that little bit like a half elephant rider. And then turn back to the lunge at the front of the mat. And we will come up in the high lunge. So it could be the warrior lunge. Or the low lunge with the hands on the floor for that matter. Breathing here. Namaste, steadiness. And calming down. Stepping back to the plank. Vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And we'll do the same on the other side. Lifting the left leg. And through to the lunge. Bringing the right knee down and Jayasana. Big circle of breath. And circling the arms with that circle of breath. Namaste in front. And then into the roller derby. Turning that right foot down 90 degrees. Putting the left hand on the inside of the left knee, pressing it open. So if that left heel is starting to lighten up and come off the floor, just make the legs a little wider. And then you can put your left hand on the knee or in the thigh there, and you can press that leg knee back more, getting a little more stretch. The purpose of this is just a little lateral stretch in the inner thigh on the left. All right, and then we will turn back to the left lunge. And coming up in the high lunge or whatever lunge. Steadying yourself with the breath. Namaste. And calming down. Let's step back to the plank, and then we'll take a side plank onto the right. Maybe putting the right knee down and doing kneeling side plank if you want. And coming back to the center, side plank onto the left. Lots of strength from the legs and the core, good. And back to the center. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. Sliding forward and into the Sphinx. Pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands, reaching back through the toes. Maybe pulling with the hands a little more and the elbows have a little lift or not, don't force it. And come down. Let's interlock the fingers behind, rolling those shoulders up and lifting up in Salabhasana, the locust. Slowly release the hands, palms face the ceiling. And coming down. And then let's make our way back up to downward facing dog. If you wanted to put in another GentleVinyasa here, you could. And then there we all are, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. And through to the lunge. And coming up once again in the high lunge of the warrior one. And a big reach down, and we're going to step through with the left leg, coming to sit on the floor with the right leg bent, left leg straight, or however you need to get there. Standing on that left foot, let's get the belt, and we'll put that belt around the right foot. And lifting up through the top of the head, pressing down through the back of the left leg, extending that right leg up any amount. Trying to have the shoulders down, lifting through the top of the head. And then rolling down, so contracting those abdominal muscles, pressing and reaching away through the legs. Try to come down with as much control as you can. And we arrive on the floor, taking a deep breath. And then let's try that rolling up and down 3 more times. Pressing into the right leg, shoulder blades into the back, belly pulling back against the spine. And coming down. And then really feeling into that work of the hands and lower arms, holding the belt, Instead of just making it something that might be a little hard, make it something deliberately a little bit harder. Feeling those forearms getting stronger. All right, and after the third time, here we are down on the floor in Supta Padangusthasana number 1. Inhale and exhale. And then belt into the right hand, taking that right leg out to the diagonal side. Just a few more breaths here. And coming up to the center, belt to the left hand, right arm out to the side from the shoulder, and taking the right leg across to the left. Or you could use the bent knee if you would rather. Bring the right inner foot onto the left inner. And coming back up to the center. And then coming back up. So here we go, rolling up again, pressing the legs away. Coming up. And then just bending the right leg down, sending the foot aside, and coming up into the forward bend. As you're ready, you want to crouch down here or adjust here, go ahead. And then as expanding those legs, pressing the feet into the floor. Maybe noticing the two legs might feel rather differently, at least superficially. And see if you can nonetheless find that deeper place of symmetry and balance, even though it may have different sensations on the right and left side. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And let's dive right back over. Concave back halfway up, folding over. Vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And then before you keep going there, adjust those hands. So come down on your knees, Dana, yeah. And then you can pick up the whole wrist and turn down. There we go. All right, downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up. And through to the lunge. Let's come up in that high lunge again. Or whatever lunge. And then bringing the arms down, and we'll step through with the right leg, or maybe you just step together and sit down, and then straighten the right leg out. That works. And then here we are, standing on the left foot on the floor, the right foot on the wall in front, and the belt will go around the left foot. And then pressing down and reaching through the right leg as we extend that left leg up. Wherever it will go, and finding the balance between leaning back and lifting up and breathing here. And we'll roll down to the floor. Resisting with the legs, trying to come down as slowly as you can. Up. And then here we are. Deep breath. Rolling up and down 3 times, or whatever number you did. Under the up. Our goal is to be doing it, not to be getting it done. And then really feel into that work of the hands holding the belt. I think this is 3. One of those days where I can't count to 3. I don't know. I think I'll do one more just in case. All right, and then we'll be in Supta Padangusthasana. Inhaling and exhaling, sending that breath pouring out through the 2 heels. And then belt into the left hand, bringing that leg out to the diagonal side. Gotta keep reaching through the right leg. Just a few more breaths here. And then bringing that left leg up past the belt off to the right hand, left arm out to the side, taking that left leg across to the right. And maybe with a straight leg, maybe with the bent knee. It can be more easeful, it can be less easeful. And coming back up to the center. And roll up. And then expanding into the forward bend. Standing forward bend. Ow. But take your time. You can do the sitting one there for a moment.
Yeah.
Deep breath, feeling that both symmetry and asymmetry of the legs having both done the same work now might settle into feeling a little more symmetrical than the first time we came up. And then coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste. All right, let's see, before we continue along, let's get our blocks, and we'll put one at the front of the mat and one at the back of the mat, if you have blocks. If you don't have blocks, then you don't have blocks. Or just put one at the front and you can always use it. All right. And then once you've got your blocks there, we're in Tadasana at the front of the mat. You can have the arms alongside, maybe hands together in Namaste if you would rather. And breathing here, Samastiti, steadiness. And a big lift up into the front body yawn. Let's take an extra circle around with the arms. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. We'll step back to the plank, left, right. And let's side plank again. We'll go on to the left side first. And back to the center, and on to the right. Back to the center, through whatever of the vinyasa, and we'll all be in downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg. Really reaching between both legs, stretching a little more this time in our three-legged dog. And then through to the lunge, warrior number 2. Oh, a little wider and flatter. And then dancing warrior, bringing the right arm up and away. And into the triangle Trikonasana. There we are, we're doing a side plank. We got our leg out to the side in the belt. So maybe the triangle's a good place for you right now, or taking it up to Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon, maybe using the block underneath the right hand. Especially if you're going up to the half moon, finding that side planking strength through the arms and through the core there. And then half mooners, taking your left foot down, we'll all come back to the warrior 2. And then straighten up that right leg, turning the feet to parallel. Take a breath or two, reaching wide. And then rotating that left leg out 90 degrees toward the back of the room. There we go. Yep, and then press the right heel toward me a little more. All right, we're doing the same thing.
Okay.
Bending that left leg, reaching long through the inner thigh. Oh, a little more. Is there a little more space somewhere? And dancing warrior, bringing the left arm up and away. And into the triangle, Trikonasana on the left. Feeling that side plankness. Reaching out through that left inner thigh, stretching the leg out to the side in the belt. Maybe the triangle is good. Maybe coming up into Ardha Chandrasana. We really want to use that side plank strength through the arms, shoulder blades in the back, strong core, though we're doing the same thing in the triangle. And then half moon, bringing that right foot down. We're taking the little road, just coming down, and we're going to end up in the wide leg forward bend. So just making the feet parallel and coming forward. Inhale and exhale, smoothing out anything that needs smoothing out in your body, maybe in your mind if something didn't go with quite perfect flowing smoothness there for the last couple of minutes. There's a reason it's called yoga practice, because it's always practicing. And every day we walk onto our mat with a different set of things to work with. Similar things maybe, but a little different every day and even every moment. And then let's turn back to our right lunge. And stepping back to the plank through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And if you want to take a few breaths in child's pose here before we go to the left, you could do that. All right, and then here we are in downward facing dog. Let's lift our left leg up. Really breathing into this three-legged dog. And through to the lunge, warrior two on the left. Two. Reaching wide and flat. Are you reaching with that right side as well as the left? Pulling from the legs, not just the arms. Maybe there's even a little widening of the rib cages. And then dancing warrior, left arm up. And into the triangle for a moment. And maybe staying there in that triangle. Or continuing into Ardha Chandrasana. And then we'll all come back to the warrior number 2. Breathe. And this time we're going up and over the top. So straightening up the left leg, turning the feet to parallel. And then take a moment getting settled here. Reaching wide, lifting up through the top of the head. And we'll rotate the right leg out 90 degrees. Right leg toward the back of the room. And make sure you put the left foot back. And then inner thigh to inner knee over the foot. And then pulling wide through the legs, maybe even the ribs, and the arms as well, but not all just the arms. And then dancing warrior, bringing the right arm up and away. Don't lose the lunge. And into the triangle trikonasana. And maybe that's a good place to stay or coming up to Ardha Chandrasana. And then we'll go down, bending the left knee, right knee, coming around to the wide leg forward. You always get a block here for your hands, if you want. Inhaling and exhaling, smoothing things out. And then coming up, extending out long. So maybe using a block, we're going to twist to the left toward the front of the mat. Though it's not really going to matter which way because we're going to do both. Twisting to the left. And through the center, twisting to the right. And back to the center. And then turning to the left lunge toward the front of the mat. Stepping back to the plank. Maybe one more vinyasa. And then we'll be in downward facing dog. Breathing there. Arriving in this moment, in this downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And up. Oh, and let's come down to the floor. Oh, the floor. All right, so having a block nearby in case you want to use it. So we're going to do the bridge pose, and then we will have an option for one-legged bridge pose, reaching our right leg up in the air. But let's just take a bridge pose on 2 feet, seeing where things are, pressing those feet into the floor, rolling up, maybe interlocking the fingers underneath. Inhaling into the front of the body, exhale, lifting up into the space. You always bend the arms, taking the hands onto the sacrum. And then rolling down. All right, so you can do your bridge poses however you want. We're going to do 2 more. If you want, you can do your 2 more as one of them will lift our right leg up to the ceiling. On the last one will lift our left leg up to the ceiling. So, or you could do supported bridge pose or some other back bend. Another option is using the block to help with that one-legged bridge pose, which I will demonstrate. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to talk as if everyone's going to do the one-legged one with me on the block. So come up into the bridge pose. We're on the block at the high height for everybody, probably the high height. I don't know, maybe Dan and not the high height. Yeah. And most of us can probably have the high height, but just see. So you should feel like you can engage a little and lighten a little on the block, maybe even get an inch or so up off the block. You don't want to kind of be suspended on the block too much. All right, so engaging the muscles, just using the assistance of the block rather than depending on it. And really press the left foot into the floor, hinge that right leg up, pressing down into the left even more to extend that right foot to the ceiling. And then we'll bring the right leg down. All right, so if you have no block, come down onto the floor and take a couple breaths. If you have the block, you can just sit on the block easily for a moment. Maybe undo the hands, get kind of regrouped and recentered. All right, and here we are engaging with our bridge pose again, pressing down into both feet, pressing into the upper arms. Oh, and then really pressing into the right foot as we hinge the left leg up, and pressing down even more as we extend the left foot up to the ceiling. So that left leg's helping us by reaching up, and then everything else is pressing down into the floor. All right, and then we will finish with this. And if you're on that block, lifting up, taking it out, rolling down, landing on the floor. everything lets go. All right, and let's get our block once again, and we'll do the block under the shoulders. So a lot of this is about, after all those bridge poses, getting the neck to go the opposite direction. So maybe starting with your hands underneath there, so giving and kind of hooking them underneath the base of the skull. So you can pull that head out and then slowly ease it over. Ah. You also might notice that having the hands interlocked behind the head and pulling the elbows wide is a little different stretch across the upper chest than having the arms in another position. And then letting things soften. Inhaling and exhaling. And keep the hands there, you can let go. Inhaling into that upper chest, exhale, melting off the block. So if you're happy here on the block, you can stay on the block for Shavasana. If you're feeling like you can let go pretty completely there on the block, or coming to lie flat. If you're taking that block out, trying to do it as gently as possible. And then as you come down, really feeling that big melt of the upper back across the floor, and the sternum and the ribs all come down and settle into place. Inhale and exhale. Checking for any tension in the face or the jaw. And letting that tension go. And then breathing back into your body, into the room. Moving the fingers and toes, maybe a little circling of the wrists and ankles. Stretching the arms up overhead. And knees. And gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. And sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming. Oh,